All right, folks, it's now season 3 of the DEUCE coming out. New class just dropped, some new rules, so we'll kind of go through what the hell is going on. First of all, the class might, well, I didn't show shit yet, but it's actually a little bit smaller that's shown right now. Only 45 players, and again, there's 8 teams, so that's not a lot of players. We've been doing 6 team, but that is because now we have some hidden players, and a new mechanic was added, the discovery mechanic. First, just looking at the recruits, you got some 3 blue chips here. We can see their stats. Looks like Ethan Carter's pretty ridiculous. Shortstop, third base, great fielding, great hitting, pretty much all around nasty. Looks like it's going to be gross. Then you have Noah Simmons, a blue chip pitcher. There's 164, which is gross, with a level 7 slow curve. My goodness, and a shit ton of abilities right there. And then last but not least, Tank Lawson. Look at those abilities: Intimidator, Chance, Power Hitter, Contact Hitter, 100 run speed, 100 contact. Looks gross. Unfortunately, as you can see, we got fat zeros on Oregon. These are our initial interests that get rolled. And it just randomizes basically 1, 2, 3 for your schools. Number 1 starts with 250, number 2 starts with 100, number 3 starts with 50. And we got hosed this year. Just a little unfortunate, but it's all good. We had to switch our strategy up because of that a little bit. And then you can see here, this is a rip. You got California. You got Stanford as the initial interest, which if you somehow don't know, Stanford's in California. And you got top priority proximity to home, and they have the best director in the game for getting people that they want. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Noah Simmons is going to Stanford. But the rest of these guys, we'll see what happens. We do have a nice Oregon proximity to home, which is good. A couple more, like this is the first time we've had some Oregon guys. That's nice. A couple of 5 stars. And then what's strong for us is always coach reputation, as we do have the 5-star coach rep. Only us in Arizona have the 5-star. Everyone else is 3 stars, so that's always interesting to look for. And another thing so let's talk this one first, the NIL ask. So this was added this year, I think probably to try to balance the stuff a little bit more. But you have $1 million of NIL money, and then you have to distribute that between the people you sign. So blue chips are 250, that already eats up a quarter of your budget. So you could only sign 4 blue chip, then you have to do some walk-ons, or you could do some 5 stars. You can get 5 of those in a walk-on. And then the price just kind of drops down after that. So it's going to be pretty important to get some like 4-star guys and shit like that. Or 3-star guys especially. It's just the price just goes down and down as you go down. So finding those gems is critical. And then the one thing too, Tennessee did spend 300 of their NIL money last year, so they're already down to 700,000. So that's tough for them. Alright, discovery mechanic wise, I don't think it's really much shown on this, so we can just go to the other thing now. So we had to choose our new directors, so as you can probably see by the thumbnail, they'll probably make. Keisha Clark was our director last year. She's out. Here's Keisha right here. This is what she basically did. She got plus 30 points on all of our phone call pitches, which if you're new, here's our recruiting actions that you can do on different recruits. Oops, this one. So we all have ratings for different categories that are basically a modifier that modify the phone call. Basically, it's like phone call versus times the type of this gives you like a new number, and if it's priority, it's +2. So like if Tennessee was doing a school reputation phone call, it'd be 5 times 20, which is 100. But then if it's the prospect's priority, they get plus another 40. So it'd be 140 if it's a school reputation 5-star pitch priority. Other than that, Scout gives you 2 ratings and gives you 50 points. The hosting the visit is a big swing. It's 150 points, but for every game you win during that week, you get plus 100, and there's 4 games during the week, so you can get a huge swing there. Email, just a regular 10 there. Phone call, we talked about. Offer scholarship. If you have to be in first place and then have a scholarship available to sign people, it's basically how you sign the guys in this, how this is set up. But also if you offer it during the season, you get plus 250, which is huge swing. And then request tape, which is basically a nerf scouting thing. It's only 1 rating gets revealed, but it's 30 points. Send package just to 40 points that don't do anything. Sending head coach is a huge point action, but does reveal 3 scouting abilities or ratings too, which is good. And then you have Discover, which is our new mechanic. So it costs 50 points. The way Discover works is you basically say, there's the 4 regions, West, East, South, and Midwest. You would say, I want to go to whatever region you want. So let's say East. I will go to East. And then you have the 4 position groups that they broke up into pitchers, catchers, infielders, and outfielders. So you would say, like, for example, I want to go to the East and I want to find a catcher. If there is a catcher in the East, you would then, they would get added to the draft pool. And because you discovered them, you actually start off in first place at 250 points. And then also you got the discovery action, so it's actually really a plus another 50. So you're at 300 points versus second place would be 100 points. So it'd still be like the initial interest stuff for the other stuff. But the thing that gets tricky about it is what if multiple people do the same thing? So it's actually first come, first serve, so you have to be quick about submitting your actions in this one. And then also if there's like multiple guys that match your, so like if there's multiple catchers in the East and you say I want to get a catcher in the East, you'll just get a random one. But if 2 people put in for that, then they'd each get one, which is good. But also if you say I want to get a catcher in the East and there is no catcher in the East, you basically just wasted 50 points. So it's a little interesting. And then supposedly the last player that gets revealed in each region is going to be good. So there's 30 undiscovered prospects that will get added. So that's going to be the new mechanic that kind of changes things up a lot. But again, we basically dropped Keisha Clark this year. I think maybe we talked about the directors last season, but we'll just talk about them again. So Tennessee last year used Ron Saffel. He basically, when you scout someone or request tape on someone, you can't see what he's doing for the first half of the season or first 4 weeks of the season. He also gets to unlock every single rating on just one scout, and then on the second scout, he unlocks every ability. That's huge because if you're trying to do like a scout of someone and you're just doing 50 points at a time, you're only getting like 2 things at a time. There's a lot of abilities, there's a lot of ratings. It just takes forever, but this guy just says boom, I'm done. His salary is pretty low too, so he actually gets more money to spend on people. Nobody used J. Kim, piece of shit. Nobody used Craig Bishop. And then again, we talked about Keisha. She gives that plus 30 on phone calls too, so like the 5-star priority pitch would be actually 170. The points modifier is always good because you can kind of outcompete other people that don't have it. If you're going head-to-head with them, you know that you're getting extra points while they're not. And then she also had an extra 300k at the final end of the season, which was nice. Nobody used Felicity, nobody used Arthur. And then last year, Arkansas used Edward Thomas. They just have a huge budget, but they have some issues for like not getting any really perks and just getting nerfs, honestly. But the huge budget was nice for them because they could kind of go after like 10 guys at once, and people kind of had to choose who they're going to fight for. Whereas that, we use Kit. All right, let's we'll just go right to Janice. So the way that we did the decisions this year is you could franchise tag your existing director from season 2, and then you don't have to. You would basically get a right to match. We basically did like a combo of like franchise tagging and restricted free agency from NFL. So you had a chance to match someone offering you a deal, or I guess NBA too, same shit. Anyway, so I gave up Keisha because honestly I thought Keisha was one of the worst ones. We got pretty lucky in our class last time. And then as you saw on our Oregon rating for that draft class again, we got all these zeros. So we basically know that we needed to go try to find and discover some guys so we could start off at good ratings, because although we got some of these lower guys a lot, we definitely have a tough top of the class there, which is not ideal. So we went with Janice Kruger as our bid. We did get them for the mid bid, which is nice. But we talked about the discover action before. The one thing that's nice about Janice is you can say, yes, I want to go and look for a pitcher in the West, let's say. If there are 3 pitchers in the West, you get to discover all 3, which is huge, versus other people would only get 1. But the biggest thing is whenever you discover someone, she's the only one where the person stays hidden. So people also have to go and discover this person. So if I discover someone a week early, I basically have a week head start on these people to try to get points up. The one downside is there is not really a point boost. You get the plus 30 on the discovery actions, but really like that's one time 30 points. It's not going to be big swing, so that's kind of dumb. But also the nice thing is once you find someone, once you do actions on them, now your actions won't show up on them anymore, which is kind of nice because you're building that head start lead on people, and then they don't know is this person actually good, is this person bad, who knows. So it's kind of nice to hide when I found them, and then also if they're even good. So we did end up going with Janice Kruger. Mostly we had to go for the discovery thing because our class was so shitty. Wanted to maybe go for somebody else, but it worked out anyway. Nobody did William Black, but he would have found 4 prospects at a time, and then this one would show at 80-20 scale. So the one thing we didn't really say about the discovering thing is once you discover someone, it doesn't show any ratings. So this would give it 80-20 public. Not really a perk, or because everyone gets to see it, so I don't know if that really matters too much. Then we had Marty Sutherland. So this is who Florida ended up going with. Also got them for mid-bid. Very similar to Janice in that they get 3 at a time, which is nice. Also 50% of NLL asks for prospects, so they can basically afford whoever they get, they're going to be able to afford them, I think, the way the math will work out. So they basically can afford every single person. And then discovered prospects public with question marks. So instead of the blank stuff, they basically cover off that. And then the one thing that they get is permanent recruiting fog of war. So if they scout, it will show up. But if they're doing actions, it will not show up. So that's good for them. And then nobody did Sage. We kind of had to nerf her a little bit because her original design would just scouted every single person at once, and then that was over. No one ended up doing that. ATS Street is Stanford's person. He's probably the best guy, and I can't believe he still got him for minimum salary, but it is what it is. He gets plus 40 on every single action, which is busted, and he can fight anyone and get whoever he wants. He also gets permanent fog of war, so you don't even know if you're fighting him, which is nuts. And then you had Emma Goldstein. So Florida actually gave up on Emma Goldstein, which I was definitely surprised about. But Emma here can get basically a little bit worse version of ATS. A little less points every single time, but she does hide her scouting stuff, which is also could be a benefit over Florida here. So if you find that someone's nasty, it does hide that, so that's good. And then I did kind of say this before, but you could basically, with this 3 prospects thing, you discover a region twice. These 2 guys can do like east pitcher on turn 1, turn 2, and then you definitely have every single pitcher. So if you do that for like one region, you do discover everyone at once. The one downside for doing that with especially Marty is the earlier you reveal people, the more time people have to fight you on it. So it's like you start off with a head start, but then some of these other guys, like we showed ATS and Emma, they start fighting you with those extra bonus points, and you're kind of cooked. So you definitely have to be careful of when people get revealed. You also had Carmela Ryan, who is Georgia's person. They get a boost on the visits and also get a hard commit at plus 1,000, which is pretty nice. Their salary is pretty high at $2 million right now. And then you have Sarah Jansen, who I think is just going to be like absolutely ridiculous this class with the discovered people. Because people will come out, they can scout them the next turn, and then boom, they know if they're nasty or not, versus everyone else is kind of like, I don't know if this person's good or not. So they'll be able to kind of go crazy. And also, the people don't even know when they're scouting. So this is still our highest salary person, and it definitely should be on this one. I think Sarah is going to be by far the best on this one. And then ATS and Emma are still good, of course, and probably the best 2 after that. So then we basically bid on it. So almost everyone tagged except for Florida, Arkansas, and Oregon. And then it kind of worked out where Arkansas won for Florida's old one. And then Florida went for Marty, and then I went for Janice. So it all worked out there. Other than that, I think that's going to be it for now. We'll see how the season goes. I definitely can't show my exact strategy this year with the discovering stuff because I do have the fog of war, but we'll still kind of review during the season what's going on all these and see what people are doing. Definitely some good stuff in this class. You can see like these scout grades, lots of 80s, lots of stuff, and then we don't have as many two ways this class. So last class the theme was two ways. This one, not so much. More traditional style. I don't think I see if any two ways. So that's nice. But yeah, we'll see what happens. There's always some surprises, always some steals. Even though these guys are ranked 1, 2, 3 stuff, like it could be John Collins for all I fucking know. Some random ass person could be top guy. I think we had like a 2-star or 3-star catcher last time, ended up being ranked 2 in the class. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in this one. See how the discovery mechanic plays into it, and also how the NIL stuff goes. Other than that, we'll see how the season goes. Good luck to Oregon this season. Hell yeah.